How's filming going out there in the world of COVID? Restraints kind of ease up, things start flowing again, and I am in Tallahassee, Florida, and stuff's going crazy again. We're one of the hot spots. It just makes everyone more scared, rightfully so, that case numbers are launching as they are, and it's that much harder to keep consistent work that you can guarantee that you schedule is gonna actually happen, because that's what happened to me when COVID first hit. I had work scheduled, some things dropped off, some things bounced back in. It just made everything very unpredictable, and overall the end result is that I ended up with less work this past few months than normal for sure. It's a great time to be a one-person production company, because if you know how to do every aspect of the production setup, from the lighting to the audio to the camera work to the interviews, etc., it's only one person coming in. So that does make it a little bit easier. And this is what I wanted to talk about today, was some of the things that I've been able to tell my clients to help them feel more comfortable with still filming.
In a world where nuclear war has begun, vampires fought back in super real 3D.
Let's talk about this for real, because where are you at and what is the situation like? What have you been able to tell your clients to keep work happening? It's totally different if you're just doing this as a hobby and you go out and film nature and stuff like that, which is awesome. I mean, that's something to do, that's great anyway. But if you're trying to make a living doing this, this has been a tricky tightrope to walk, and these are the few things that I've been able to kind of tell some clients that have helped me. So hopefully it helps you if you haven't already thought to tell your clients this. But first of all, one of the most common situations that you'll end up in when you're filming a video is possibly going to be interviews. You know, interview setups are almost the go-to when it comes to doing anything for commercial work these days. So if you're gonna do some interview setups, what I have flat out told them that I do is I will wear a mask. Absolutely, I'll wear a mask. You just want them to feel comfortable. You don't want in any way to possibly be associated with a COVID outbreak that happens in that facility after you leave that has nothing to do with you. When it comes to setting up, set up alone. Don't have the person sitting in the chair. You're gonna have a whole setup done for the interview before the interviewee even has to be in the room. One thing that really helps me figure out with focus and frame and how lighting is hitting the person is I have a puppet. I have a puppet that I use. It's gonna be in a movie later. I even did like a little skit with it, but that was not what the purpose of the puppet was.
And Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. When that character wakes up in the morning, he is Peter Parker. He must put on a costume to become the Spider-Man. And it is in that single characteristic where Superman stands alone.
And it's a purple puppet, so that doesn't really help with skin tones much, but I can get my focus on point with my lensing, and I can see if I'm backlit it correctly, and I can get a rough idea of, if the key light is gonna be enough for it. So you can figure out a lot with just a puppet. You want to make as minimal of adjustments once the interviewee is in there as possible, especially if the lights that you're setting up are close to them, which when you're setting up a light, especially for anything corporate, especially, but almost every time anyway, the light that you're going to set on the subject, you want to get that as close to the person as possible. You want to really, in general, soft source light, some kind of soft box or umbrella thing. You want something that's got diffusion on it. It's a soft source, and the closer you get that light to the subject, the softer the light's gonna be, the more flattering it's gonna be for the person. The further away that light is, the harder it's gonna be, and the more it shows, creates a lot of hard shadows, which is cool for a mood, but in most cases, I find myself having to put a soft source really close, which means I don't wanna have to adjust that light once the interview is already sat down. And if I do, I want it to be absolutely minimal, because I'm not gonna wanna have to get too close to the person. So I just tell them, the person that's hiring me, that I set up everything before the interviewee even comes into the room. Everything's lit, everything's mic'd up. As far as miking goes, the shotgun mic that will be overhead will be sterilized, wiped down with alcohol, and we're not worried about doing a lavalier mic, a body mic. Just skip that altogether. Sometimes, a lot of times, a lot of people like to do a lav mic on the interviewee plus a shotgun mic. I do that half the time, but I almost always go with the shotgun mic. I just prefer it. It sounds a lot more natural. It's just a better quality. So I'm just skipping the lav mic right now altogether, because it's just one more thing that you'd have to, you can try and guide them to do it. They're also going to be putting their hands all over it and everything too. Shotgun mic that I'm using now it just stays out of the equation altogether. It's just floating in air and it's wiped down with alcohol. So, you know, just every precaution covered. And tell them immediately that, you know, I'm going to do all my interviews with longer lenses. You know, I made a whole video that I really do recommend checking out because it is relevant. And it's like 3 ways to pick your lens for interviews. And I love that video. I think that that's one of the most important ones on my little channel here to check out because it's really valuable. However, in the current situation, right now I'm using a 24mm. I'm not going to be doing this with somebody that's hiring me. I'm definitely going to stick to longer lenses. That keeps a lot more distance between me and the interviewee. And that's a cool look anyway. I do that a lot of times for interviews already, which means that you have to be using a larger room if you're filming indoors. And if that's the case, that's already better for you anyway, because filming in small rooms is a real pain. I mean, it's a lot harder to light without it looking really obvious. The second you turn on a light in a small room, you're already possibly blasting it out. So it's just a lot harder to navigate. You want a big room anyway. That really helps. High ceilings, bigger space. If they don't have that, they don't have that, but it might force you into a situation where maybe, depending on the size of the room and how stringent they are, that you could potentially do the interview outside. I know that that's got its own set of challenges, but as far as what I tell the client, I simply say that I am filming with longer lenses, so the interview will be conducted at over 6 feet away. I mean, when I put on an 85mm lens, which looks awesome for interviews a lot of times, I'm like 10 to 12 feet away. So that's already something I do sometimes. The nice thing about the wide lens that you won't get the opportunity to do is if somebody's not that familiar with interviews, like the wide lens usually is a lot more comfortable for the person. Amazingly, having the camera closer is still a lot more natural for them because you're sitting closer then. It's more like a normal conversation. The closer it is to normal, the more natural it's gonna sound. But people can adapt, and you get people comfortable in the interview over the course of the interview. You know, usually the last half of the interview is always better than the first half when you're just starting off cold, unless they're seasoned with interviews and they can just start right out of the gate. Good public speakers, that can happen. But anyway, longer lenses, that's a way to go. Sterilizing the mic, not worrying about body mics, bigger rooms, and wear a mask. And for me, something that I do tell clients, which pertains to me, maybe it pertains to you, especially if you're doing this by yourself, is by far, wide and large, the majority of time that I spend working is in the editing room. It's right here in my editing sector of my studio. I'm just by myself, and I only go in and film, you know, a handful of days a month. And then the rest of the time is usually editing that footage. So it's not like I'm seeing a ton of people anyway, and that's good too. It's not like I'm some 5-person crew that films every day and my main thing is going out and filming. That's not the case. And maybe you're similar. Maybe you are similar. So I hope that helps you. I know that that's like not the complete solution, but it has worked for me to sustain some work, to keep people feeling comfortable, and to guarantee that I'm in no way connected with anything that happens in that place after I leave. There's no denying that it is something you have to talk about with your clients nowadays, and you have to make them feel comfortable and move forward with booking. A last tip that I'll throw out there is, you know, a lot of companies count on doing, like they have a marketing budget, and in a lot of cases, several of my clients have a marketing, part of that marketing budget is for going to trade show events or expos or car shows or something like that. And there is no guarantee that those things will be happening this year. You know, I mean, we don't know that. And a video is a sure shot. I mean, I'm finding that I can point out that maybe using more of their funds this year for video production might be a smart move because it's guaranteed we can start working towards that effort now, guaranteed that you have something that brands your product, explains features about your product, or the culture of your company, etc. Every company is at a different stage in their development, so either you're trying to establish their culture and the people behind the product, or you're trying to explain a specific product, you know, or both at the same time. It just depends. Point is, counting on that trade show happening at the end of the year, then finding out that it doesn't happen, you could find yourself out of luck, and you could have been working on an awesome full production video that it lasts for a heck of a lot longer than the 2 to 4 days that you would have gotten from the trade show event. So clients have been pretty receptive to that concept and pretty unanimously in agreement of that. So I feel more secure personally knowing that makes sense to them as well. Maybe it'll actually start flip-flopping and it'll actually be more work than I'm used to. So I don't know, everything's still fresh, everything's still changing. So look, stay safe out there, best of luck. Hopefully you're not in a hot spot as well like we are right now. It's crazy out there because some people aren't doing anything, and some people are like religious about doing everything they can against it, and then now it's like a law to wear the mask. So it's just, I'm just riding the wave, and I have personally been playing it safe because better safe than sorry, but I'm kind of a recluse anyway with this whole production thing. So I go out and film, come back, I edit. Hit the subscribe button if you're interested in following along with all the other actual specific tips and tricks that I've been throwing out there from 17 years of filming and editing, and just picked up all kinds of things along the way. So lots of film specific techniques to make your footage look awesome and your videos come out more professional. If you do want to comment below about what you're experiencing, that's awesome. If nothing else, hey, throw me a like on that video right there. If you could, that'd be awesome. I'm trying to grow this channel and every little bit counts, and I really do appreciate it. So take care, guys, and I will hopefully catch you on the next one. Peace.